Welcome back to Captain Crypto's Compass. Now in our previous video we had a look at SEI. Now one of SEI's competitors is called SEI, S-E-I. And in this video I'm going to have a look at SEI, what are the charts saying, no pun intended, and what can we expect, what are our outlooks.
Hi, I'm Martin. I'm the founder of Captain Crypto's Compass. I'm a trader and a professor at the Financial Freedom Academy. I am passionate about helping you to achieve financial freedom through the art and the gift of trading. I will be providing you with actionable technical analysis and insights on your favorite cryptocurrency projects to help you make better and more informed decisions. If you're ready to take your trading to the next level, you're in the right place.
Now I've gone ahead and opened up the SEI 1 week chart on Binance, and I've highlighted a couple of cool things that I've seen with SEI specifically. Now the first thing that what I do need to point out to is that SEI, unlike SEI, has been on a downtrend lately. Now to visualize this, we can see here that just taking a trend line from the previous pivot highs to that pivot high over there, we can see that we are forming this downtrend. Now that's just a visual representation of what I'm seeing here. You can see highs, lower highs, lower highs. Now it's forming a symmetrical triangle shape here as well. So we can see we have this downtrend coming from the top with lower highs, and finally we've started to create higher lows with SEI, forming this uptrend at the bottom. Now this pattern is called a symmetrical triangle, and what we can expect from symmetrical triangles is when it breaks, we usually have an explosive move to the upside. Now how we measure that is usually from the top of the trend line to the bottom of the trend line. So to give you an example, if we were to take the top of this trend line over here to the bottom, we can see that this is usually what we can expect if we do see a blow off top. And we can see here, looking left to the chart, that this expected move aligns nicely with our resistance zones that I've highlighted here. So that's just a general quick overview of what I see with SEI from a pattern perspective. But let's have a look at our key support structures and some of the key Fibonacci levels as well. Now taking a measured move here from the bottom pivot lows to pivot highs to pivot lows, I've highlighted a couple of key areas in the Fibonacci that we need to pay attention to. Now the first one would be the golden pocket between the 0.5 and 618. Now we can see as soon as SEI started finding support with this lower low here, looking left at key market structure, you can see that this was on top of the previous pivot. It's always why it's so important to look left on the chart to see where our key market structure is. Now we have bounced on top of our previous pivot highs over here, created our first attempt at a trend reversal. Now I've highlighted the 21 and 50 SMA. The 21 SMA is the yellow line and the 50 SMA is the green line. Now we can see that we are struggling with these moving averages. Because we are trading below the moving averages, we can start expecting these moving averages to start acting as resistance. Now here's a good example of where that happened. We can see the bounce came right to the 21 inside of this golden pocket in the Fibonacci, rejected, came back down to create a double bottom forming pattern with a higher low. Now this is a very good sign for me, creating a double bottom with a higher low, and this is a hint that we might finally see a trend reversal in SEI. We can see that it rebounded nicely with these two green vector candles indicating high volume, and we got rejected at the 50 SMA. Again, pushing into the SMAs, rejected, came back down to retest the golden pocket. Now this is also a very good sign for a continuation to the upside, as we are starting to hold support with candle bodies above this golden pocket zone, or inside of the golden pocket zone, which is fantastic, which is signaling to me that this zone is flipping from a resistance, here we can see that acted as resistance, now to a support zone. Because we know from technical analysis that once we break a support level, that level usually becomes resistance. And when we break a resistance level, that level usually flips to support.
Hey, I hope you're still enjoying the content. Remember to hit the like button, hit the sub button, and to ring the bell for notifications. Your support means the world to me personally, and I cannot do this without you.
And this is what we're seeing in real time here happening with SEI. We have finally broken this resistance and started holding support above it. Now, a very, very good thing for me as well is as we rebounded in this area, we finally managed to break the 50 SMA. But you can see this white line here is the anchored VWAP from the previous pivot highs, showing us this white moving average line. And we can see that SEI rejected right at this anchored VWAP here from the previous pivot highs. So it is consolidating range bound at the moment. And the next levels that we need to retest and hold of support would be this anchored VWAP at roughly about 0.38 cents. So what I would like to see is something very simple. I'd like to see us try and break this anchored VWAP and start holding support above this area. As soon as we see that, that would put SEI in a position to start testing these higher levels, which is looking fantastic from a market perspective and a charting perspective. It looks like SEI is finally trying to turn a leaf, trying to turn and break this downtrend. Now, a very interesting area here, if we just take this trend line from the top pivots to the bottom pivots, we can see that this area here marked at this 1 Fibonacci level. Now, looking at the key market structure, we can see we have pivot highs over here and a couple of pivot lows. So this area will be an area of contention for SEI. So this would be the next logical level of resistance if we can start holding support at this current resistance level here. I'll actually go ahead and mark this as orange because I want to see this flipped to support. I want to see this resistance area flipped between support, between the 50 SMA and the anchored VWAP at roughly that 38 to 32 cents. So that's what I want to see now. Now, if we manage to do that, the logical targets that we have would be these previous pivot highs, the previous pivot high over here, and then ultimately the all-time highs that we saw. So if that were to happen, the potential increase for SEI at the current levels, 22% back to the anchored VWAP. If we can hold that, the next pivot highs is roughly about 68% increase. And if we can hold that, the next pivot high is sitting at 137. And if we can hold that, the all-time highs are sitting at roughly 271%. So the upside potential with this change of character moment in SEI seems very promising. I'd like to see this level here flip to support, and then we can see what SEI can do. But it looks like a very good risk reward setup, and I am very intrigued to see how SEI treats us in the next coming weeks. Happy trading. See you on the other side. Peace and love.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this content, hit the like button, hit the sub button, and hit the bell notifications. Also, remember to click the link in the description below to join my mailing list, where I'll be sending you free emails and trading videos, and also market report updates weekly to help you stay ahead of the herd. As always, this community would not be the same without you, and thank you from the bottom of my heart. Peace and love. See you next time.